To get to the J-boot, you have to remove a few parts. Let's start with the removal of the turbo to intercooler piping. Disconnect the small hose from the intercooler piping by removing the banjo bolt. Don't lose the two sealing rings on the banjo bolt. The small hose is connected to the cyclic valve. The cyclic valve determines the amount of boost pressure sent to the wastegate and regulates the amount of boost pressure the turbo is allowed to produce. Next, remove the clip which holds the intercooler piping in place by removing the flat head screw. The clip is hooked to the air filter box. Loosen the hose clamps on both ends of the intercooler piping and remove the piping by gently pulling the hose of the piping on both ends. Inspect the removed pipe for excessive oil. A light film of oil isn't worrying. Next up is the air filter box. In this video, the top part of the air filter box will be removed from the bottom part by loosening 4 flathead screws. When the screws of the air filter box aren't in good condition and are hard to remove, it might be better to remove the air filter box as a whole. Gently remove the air box with the rubber attached from the fender. Loosen up the hose clamps on the intercooler to throttle body pipe and loosen up all hose clamps for all attached hoses. Disconnect all hoses connected to the intercooler to throttle body piping. The sensor in the piping is aftermarket and sends the intake air temperature to the aftermarket ECU. Inspect the intercooler piping for excessive oil, and check the throttle body for excessive oil as well. Disconnect the vacuum hose from the dump valve or blow-off valve. The vacuum hose opens up the dump valve when the throttle body valve is closed and recirculates the pressurized air already in the turbo to throttle body system. The dump valve is a pressure release system that prevents compressor surge. Disconnect all hoses connected to the J-boot by loosening up their hose clamps. Gently pull the hoses out of the J-boot. Loosen up the hose clamps on both ends of the J-boot. In this modified engine, there is no stock air flow meter. The air flow meter has been replaced with an open pipe. The aftermarket ECU determines the amount of fuel to inject by measuring the pressure in the intake manifold. Remove the air flow meter from the J-boot first and then remove the J-boot from the turbocharger. The connecting hose for the dump valve on the J-boot is broken. To make the installation for the J-boot easier, remove the bottom part of the air filter box. The air filter box is connected to a bracket with 3 bolts. The bolt nearest to the turbo has to be taken out completely. The other 2 bolts only have to be loosened up a little bit. There might be a hose connected to the bottom of the air filter box. That hose connects to the timing belt cover and is a breathing hose. Mid-88 that hose has been removed from the production cars. There are plugs available from Porsche to cap off the timing belt cover and the air filter box. We will be installing an aftermarket silicone J-boot. The J-boot is available from Lindsay Racing in various colors. The aftermarket turbo on this car has a 2.75-inch diameter opening. The J-boot has a diameter of 3-inch. First install a sleeve on the turbo. With the sleeve installed, the 3-inch J-boot will fit. To make sure the J-boot will slide over the sleeve easy, lube the inside of the J-boot with some WD-40. Position the J-boot so all hoses will connect easily. Make sure the angle to the air flow meter is correct as well. The first hose clamp to tighten is the one on the turbo. This ensures the hose will not pop off while connecting the hoses or the air flow meter to the J-boot. Installing the bottom part of the air filter box is an option. I choose to install the intercooler piping first. To make installation easier, loosen up the hose clamp on the rubber hose that sits between the intercooler piping and the throttle body. Install the dump valve and connect all hoses to the intercooler piping before tightening the hose clamps. forget to connect the vacuum line to the dump valve. Slide the air flow meter into the J-boot and position the bottom part of the air filter box into the bracket. Check and double check that the J-boot is correctly positioned over the air flow meter and tighten the hose clamp. Don't forget to connect the wiring harness to the air flow meter. Finally, bolt the air flow meter bottom part into the bracket and install the top part of the air filter box. Position the air filter box into the fender. At this point it is of no concern if the rubber is correctly attached to the air filter box or the fender. It is a tight fit.
Yes, it is.
I always try to keep pressure on the air filter box while screwing in the screws. This prevents excessive strain on the mounting points on the bottom part of the air filter box. Don't tighten the screws fully until all screws are in place and partly screwed in. To position the rubber on the air filter box correctly into the fender, pop up the headlights for easy access. The final part is installing the last intercooler piping. Attach the clamp to the air filter box before tightening up the hose clamps. Make sure you use the sealing rings when connecting the cyclic valve hose to the intercooler piping. Thank you for watching.